Yeah, I mean, as an analytics solution, it's all about the ability to run queries, which of course we've always been able to do. But the big news with this release is that, well, it's really the headline of the press release, up to 10x performance boost. And so what that means is that queries may be returning in 1/10 of the time. Okay. That's time to value right there. You don't want to wait around with that hourglass icon or something similar, waiting for these queries to come back.
Hi everyone, Kyle Flaherty with 21CT. I am joined today by Orion Suydam, the Director of Product Management here at 21CT, and today we're trying something a little bit different. You may remember us from such films as 5 security analytics you have to run every day, but today we're actually going to be talking about, we're going to try to do this a lot, new product and what we've come out with. So this week we have announced for general availability LYNXeon 2.29. I'm actually looking at the press release in front of me and some of the messaging and materials and things that are happening with 2.29. And it's more than just a version number, quite frankly, because there's some big kind of monumental things in here.
Absolutely.
The first one I wanted to talk about was the fact that, and people will notice this because LYNXeon actually can be used in a variety of different spaces: healthcare fraud detection, intelligence, and obviously network security. And this release has some things in network security that I found particularly interesting. One was what's called LYNXeon Connect. So why don't you take folks through what LYNXeon Connect is, and then we'll talk a little bit about what it does and why it's useful.
Yeah, sure thing. So we spent a lot of time really upgrading and putting a lot of polish on the collection capability that we have in the solution. LYNXeon is nothing without connection data and alert data and other data that it can help do analysis on. So getting the collection piece right is so important. It has to be easy to install. It has to integrate with industry-leading products, and it has to be enterprise grade. We claim all of those things with this latest version of Connect, version 1.1. And although it is primarily tailored for cyber deployments, certainly it is a set of technology that can be used in any of the domains that we satisfy.
All right, so out of the box, LYNXeon Connect comes with LYNXeon. This isn't something extra or whatnot there. And when you say connection, we're talking about data, of course. So in the cyber realm, what specifically are we talking about by data, the kind of out of the box that I'm going to start being able to do analysis and visualization on?
Yeah, we break it down into about 5 different data types. Really just kind of network connection data, intrusion detection or prevention system alerts, malware protection system alerts, threat feeds, and lastly, application metadata.
All right, and each of those have different, branded connectors in our library where people can look at those, what we have, and that's growing at a regular pace.
Sure.
And that goes back to your comment around this. There could be connectors for sources we don't know about at this point, or different verticals, etc. But now we have the means to do that.
Yeah, that's right. We have a library of connectors that fit into one of those 5 different types, and that's continuing to grow.
Right. Okay. So the other big thing, and of course, it's always important, especially in the market that we're in, is performance. And so in the announcement and what we're in our testing, quite frankly, and what we've done here is found out that we're seeing up to 10x performance in terms of queries and up to 4 times the ability to store data. So let's take the first one first. The ability to perform queries. Is that just I can do it faster? Like what is that performance?
Yeah, I mean, as an analytics solution, it's all about the ability to run queries, which of course we've always been able to do. But the big news with this release is that, well, it's really the headline of the press release, up to 10x performance boost. And so what that means is that queries may be returning in 1/10 of the time. Okay. That's time to value right there. You don't want to wait around with that hourglass icon or something similar, waiting for these queries to come back. We have put a lot of attention system-wide, tuning the performance, enhancing the graph database to be able to eke out considerable performance gains with this release.
So you mentioned time to value, and it actually snapped my memory a little bit. So I want to backtrack and go back to kind of the connectors and the LYNXeon Connect. We've been out at a lot of different customers and a lot of prospects lately, actually showing them this time to value. And so we talk about all these data sources and all this data, and you can't go anywhere without big data, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that struck me, and I think has struck you over the last certainly month or so, is the fact that it's really the amount of data sources to get to time to value is probably a lot less than what people think, especially in network security.
It's very tempting to talk about an analytics platform technology or other similar kind of technologies that are built to collect log data or similar kinds of data and just want to throw the moon at these things. Yeah. And as it turns out, for the purposes of the kind of analytics and analysis processes that we're trying to enable with this product, it really does boil down to a fairly small number of types of data. And so it was really the 5 that I talked about before: the connection data, the intrusion event data, the malware data, threat feeds. These are, and I'm not even, that's not even to imply that you need all 4 or all 5 to get value.
We see 2.
Yeah, exactly, right. I mean, there's so much that you can do with just even connection data and threat feed data, or just the application layer metadata. So,
and we keep telling folks too, and I think it's an important topic, and is that get started, get the data that you have today, get it in there, start doing analysis, because you're going to see things you never thought you'd see before. Then start adding on, whether it's more data sources or the period of time that you're storing that. And that brings me back to kind of the up to 4x part of the performance equation here. Yeah. And that really talks about the amount of data I can look at.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, even though we believe the number of classes of data that you need to be have a really valuable analytic platform is pretty small, as it turns out, there's a lot of data out there to collect even within those.
Right.
And as you gain more success stories basically with this product, and you're really uncovering things you'd never seen before, of course you want to start getting more and more data into the system, or be able to retain it for longer and longer periods of time. And that's where this 4x retention piece comes in, because if analysis over the last 2 weeks is useful, imagine analysis over the last 2 months. Right. It's a quickly changing landscape, and you want that ability to see what has actually changed in your network over longer periods of time.
Right. And I will just caution people too, then there's the other side of that equation of too long and too much becomes too long and too much. And so you do have to find that, and different organizations are certainly kind of unique in that aspect. So let's talk about kind of inside the organization, the actual analysts that are using this every day, because there's one, there's a lot of features in this, but one that kind of sticks out to me is emailed analytics. Seems, kind of like a simple feature and capability, of course, right? But really, what does it mean from the workflow of the analysts? Like, why am I using this?
Yeah, we talked at length, actually, a couple of weeks ago in our webcast about the 5 analytics that you should run every night.
Great second plug, by the way. That's really good.
If you haven't watched it, you really do.
I don't understand what's wrong with people if they haven't watched it.
It's my mom really liked it.
She did.
Yeah,
that's where all those views are coming from.
Yes. She has no budget.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a use case for the analyst to want to be able to schedule the same analytic on a nightly basis or on a periodic basis to watch how the changes are happening. What we've done is we've extended this ability to schedule analytics to also email the results back to you in your inbox. Mm-hmm. Seems kind of simple, right? Except that as an analyst now, you have really actionable intelligence delivered to your inbox first thing in the morning, even before you get to work, right? I mean, you've got your smartphone and you're even getting your alerts perhaps, first thing in the morning. You don't even have to log into LYNXeon to know that, over the last 24 hours, there actually have not been any outbound connections to North Korea, right? That's pretty useful, and so not every analytic lends itself to this scheduling feature or this email feature, but the kinds of analytics where normal condition is represented by 0 results.
Right.
And then, those are great analytics because the second you get some results where you've got like 5 connections or 10, like now you know where you're going to start your day.
Yeah, now you hit the gas pedal a little bit heavier and you get to work. So one last thing to wrap up 2.29. One of the kind of nice parts of where we're at today, and it's part of the product, it's part of what you mentioned, the graph pattern database, etc., is this ability to, and we really talked about it, I'm going to start today with 2 or 3 data sources over 2 months, but next year I could be doing 18 months and 19 data sources. I mean, who knows what it is. This ability to kind of grow with you, and LYNXeon 2.29 is really built that way now to really push for this. We're here to kind of go along with you for the ride.
Definitely. We have 4 different license levels today, and these license levels give you access essentially, or the ability to store or perform analysis over a certain amount of data. And as the needs to retain more data or introduce more data into the system grow, then LYNXeon, or rather 21CT, offers you different ways to expand your LYNXeon deployment, whether it's a license upgrade or these little expansion licenses that we've introduced, or the ability to deploy additional LYNXeon cluster nodes.
Okay. So you're not going to charge everyone for each of the connectors and all that stuff?
Oh, no. All of that data collection capability comes with the product. And certainly we want to encourage our customers to start introducing new kinds of data so that they can get even more value out of the product. All right.
Yeah, and we've probably said value more times than 2.29. And it really is about getting to that security intelligence faster in the cyber world. But ultimately, like you said, a lot of this is going to feed up into our other verticals, including healthcare fraud detection. And I'll be actually, if I can do a plug for an upcoming webcast, I'll be sitting down with Ross Warden, the director of our fraud intelligence unit here at 21CT. And similar to what you and I did, we're going to talk about kind of the 5 myths in healthcare fraud detection. So we'll be hitting that. I'm sure you'll be one of the first to watch that.
I won't miss it.
Will you be in the studio audience?
No.
Okay, it's too bad. We'll have to do one of these live at some point. I think that would be great. How many people do you think would show up?
My mom might.
Yeah, I bet she would. Excellent. All right. So I'm Kyle Flaherty.
Orion, Suydam.
Thank you so much for joining us, and look for LYNXeon 2.29 in a store near you.
Thanks, Kyle.